Hey, John, let me see if I can explain this um, to some degree. The Currently, if you have a flanged window, it's going to mount to the outside sheathing, right? This shows the flange over the siding, but that's just because I'm not going to muck around with it. But you can imagine that this is going to be, um, I'm not sure what that siding is. Let's just go minus a half inch. Oh. Um, this is going to be set back, right? Like that's this flange is going to be behind the siding, and then on the inside, like the video that I'm commenting about, you would have. Uh, in this instance, there's a jamb here, but imagine that this jamb would just be the drywall return. So imagine that this window doesn't have a jamb detail, and you put it in there, and then you have the drywall returns that the drywall team is going to do. So my idea is, again, one of my goals is to kind of deconstruct, reconstruct building, trying to make things easier, or even for a single trade to have more hands on, because then um, the less people that are involved, the less blaming happens and things like that. So if I can get the drywall guys to take on more uh, work, and they can do a good job at it, I will do that. So imagine now that we have um, a that same window, and let me just pull it up here. And now instead of um, it's you're not going to be able to tell exactly here, um, but now you have the flange inset. So what I have done is taken the flange and mounted the window and created a buck inside the rough opening. So I'm not sure why this wood isn't showing. Oh, I know why. Hold on. So I'm just going to lighten these graphics up. So now you can imagine that this was the original rough opening header, uh, and then this was the sill down here. And so what I would have done is mounted a 2x4, and then move the window back into that 2x4 and attach it back here. That gives me a recessed detail, and then depending on how big this window frame comes out, um, you would run that flush with your drywall and do like a fry reglet or a trim text or some shadow bead, or it doesn't even have to be shadow bead. It could just be a stop, just a J bead or something. Um, and then you wouldn't have to have a drywall return. It would simply be this reglet up against the window that's overhanging a little bit of a half inch of the drywall. Um, and you could also have the window come out even a little further and still have the shadow detail, but then it would just protrude from the wall, so it'd be more of a projection, interior projection. So that's what I mean about eliminating the drywall return detail at all, by just moving your window in so that it flushes out with um, the drywall right here, and then put a reglet right there, and so you don't have any drywall detail returns. The tricky thing about my explanation here is that in this instance, this brownish red part I would consider as part of the window. Um, so just imagine that that's part of the window frame, and you would just line that up with the edge of the drywall. And then on this version, it's kind of doing dual duty just for the discussions, just so I don't have to create a bunch of new windows. This would be the drywall piece itself. You can imagine that this is split, and the window piece is like way back here, like this depth, and then this other, this from the other third, 2/3 of this is the actual drywall return, if that makes sense. Hope that helps explain where my thinking is at on this. If not, just ping me back. I may be able to help clarify if that does.